So I will get us started. I just hit the gavel. The meeting will come to order. The time is now 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, February 28th, 2024. This is a regular monthly meeting of the District of Columbia Commission on the Arts and Humanities. My name is Reggie Van Lee, Chairperson of the Commission. I am an African-American man wearing a black suit and a black turtleneck. I will now call the roll. When you hear your name, please answer present. Cora. Cora. Julianne.
Present.
Jack.
Present.
Cecily.
Present.
Chase.
Present.
Kymber. Carla.
Present.
Hector. Gretchen.
Present.
Cora, I see you on screen. Are you present? We have 6 anyway, so we do have a quorum. A quorum is present. This is a meeting of a public body held in open session and is governed by the Open Meetings Act. Please address any questions or complaints arising under this meeting to the Office of Open Government at opengovoffice@dc.gov. Notice of the meeting was posted in the DC Register on the Commission's website, dcarts.dc.gov, and on the DC Office of Open Government's Central Meetings calendar at open-dc.gov. The meeting is being conducted in a virtual format with commissioners joining remotely using the Zoom meeting platform. The meeting is being live streamed to the Commission's YouTube channel. An electronic recording of the meeting will be available for viewing online following the conclusion of the meeting. I will now read the land acknowledgement. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will, some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life, and some have lived on this land for more generations than can be counted. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We begin this effort to acknowledge what has been buried by honoring the truth. We stand on the ancestral lands of the Nacotchtank and the Piscataway people and pay respects to their elders, past and present. Please take a moment to consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us together here today. And please join us in uncovering such truths at any and all public events and to use such truths to guide the legacy of this Arts Commission. Is there any objection to the agenda that was previously circulated? Hearing no objection, the agenda stands as adopted. Well, good evening and welcome to everyone. We have an interesting meeting this evening with reports from all of our committees, particular special committees on the Miami efforts that the Art Basel in Miami event we went to in Florida, as well as the Executives Conference in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We are on the eve of our performance oversight hearing tomorrow. A number of us will be there in the room. It's my understanding a number of our public friends are planning to attend as well, and a number of our council members. So we're looking forward to tomorrow's opportunity to talk about this Arts Commission, the things we're doing, the challenges we have, the opportunities we have, and the help we think we can get from the government and from the council. As is our custom, we will be reminded of why we're here in the arts by having one of our grantees, Claudia Aziza Gibson-Hunter, Visual Arts and Mixed Media, to make a presentation. Is Miss Gibson-Hunter here?
She's on mute, I think.
While you're waiting, I want to record.
Yes, we can see you, but you're on mute. Could you get off of mute?
There, now can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes. Thank you, welcome.
Welcome, thank you so much. I'm so pleased to be here. And I wanted to speak as a, not just as a grantee, but as I am the interim facilitator for Black Artists of DC. And many of our members have been involved with the Decent Commission. And I want to say a few words from the group. I got a chance to speak to some of them, and I've listened to stories about how your different grant leaders have just been phenomenal in how you have ushered people through some of the processes that they have to go to apply to the different grants. And it's just been, this has been the most artist-focused grouping of grants leaders that we have seen in a long time. And it has been wonderful. We have been able to get some of our people that have been overlooked over the years, have been able to get grants and to move their art and their career forward. And I just want to let you know that we're very, very thankful for that, because we have some tremendous artists in our group. I did want to call out a few names of grant people that have been awesome. That's what they said. So we've got Robert Nunez, Ron Hubertson, Edward Daniels, Kerry Kaliba, and I've got Edward Daniels. I think I did that one. And Miss Pope, I didn't get her last name. So before I got started, I wanted to say that, because we really appreciate having people to walk us through, because we have in our group, we're a transgenerational group. So we have everybody from 16 to 85. And so some of our older members, your help has made such a difference. And I want you to know that. Now, let me see some of the things that I wanted to say. Okay, so I talked to the group regarding the commission. And one of the major things that has been a problem for us is the payments being so late. And I just want you to understand that in some cases, I mean, literally, people's lives are altered because of the lateness of the grants coming through. And I don't know what we can do about it, but I wanted to bring it. I want you to understand the tremendous effect that it has, the dependency that people that do get those grants, they kind of, when they get a date that is going to come through, their whole management of their studio and their home life revolves around that. And when it doesn't come through, it has a tremendous impact. And I just wanted to bring that forward and have you to think about, maybe we can get to somewhere where we can have these payments to come through in 15 days, as opposed to the 30 and on and on and on. Okay. So another thing that I wanted to speak to was if there's any way that we can remove the clean hands certification, because I mean, I know that this has a lot to do with the mayor's office, but why should a person's ability to pay traffic tickets or be late on their rent, why should that, I mean, yeah, we rent on their mortgage or their taxes. Why should that affect if they can get a grant or not? And for a lot of grassroots people or grassroots artists, the impact is tremendous. Now, one of the things that I wanted to discuss with you was I have this concept of the canvas ceiling. And in Washington, D.C., artists develop their careers, and then they reach what I call a canvas ceiling. And at that point, it's very difficult to launch oneself so that you can become a national or international, have a national or international presence if you stay in Washington, D.C. And we see a lot of artists leaving Washington, D.C. because we don't have a well-developed ecosystem. And one of the major things is that we don't have a Washington, D.C. Museum of Art. And I think that we need to think about that. Some of the other things that we wanted to talk about, was paid apprenticeships. We know it works. Years ago, two of the, I don't know if they were called grant people. I don't know what their position was, but the commission was having meetings in different parts of the city. And I actually had a meeting at my house, and the pressure was put on to have to develop an apprenticeship program. And they did. And one of our members became the apprenticeship, took the apprenticeship. That person was worked in conjunction with a public art artist. She, after that, had the experience so that she could compete for public art projects, and did. And she has done public art projects. Amber Robles Gordon has done public projects all over the city, and is now, she has an exhibit traveling nationally. So that the impact of that apprenticeship was tremendous. And we know that what happens with many Black artists is that they can't compete for the public art positions because they do not have the experience. And the way to get the experience is through the apprenticeship. So we want to encourage you to think about bringing back the apprenticeship program. We also wanted to talk about bringing back the Sister Cities program. In the past, that program needed for the artists to have a connection in the Sister City program. In the Sister City, they had to have a connection there. And for many Black artists, they don't have that connection. But if you thought in terms of it as creating residency experiences for the artists, then they can get the opportunity to go to these different countries and bring back all that creative energy, and also develop those relationships. So I really wanted you to just think about that, having that little twist for those that don't have the opportunity to always go to foreign countries and formulate those relationships, offering residencies so that they can form those relationships. So these are some of the things that we wanted to talk about, and that canvas ceiling that happens here, where our artists, the encouraging the artists to get out of Washington, D.C. to experience art in other places in the country and in the world, and bring it back and feed the artistic energy in this city, would help to develop the kind of environment that would keep our creatives here, because we have tremendous talent here, and we've got to keep them here. And part of that is having affordable studios. homes that have studios attached to them or could be part of the living space. These are some of the other things that could happen that could help to keep our people here. And we need a arts district. Right now, the art is
I don't mean to cut you off, but we do need to get into other parts of the discussion as well.
And I thank you so much. I thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to bring some of the concerns that we have, and hopefully, they can be addressed. And
I would like to get some time offline with you to work through this, but I will say quickly, on the, I will not make excuses about the lateness in getting the payments to our grantees. Part of the reason behind that is this new DIF system that's been in place and ironing out the bugs. Part of it is the fact that we do not have enough grant managers to push the grants out. We have a huge increase of number of grantees and applications. And actually, we were not allowed by the city council to increase to the number of grant managers we'd like. So your help in advocating for us to get the resources we need to get the grants out faster would be helpful. And unfortunately, we are a paper-heavy process at this point, and we're looking to automate that process significantly. So we hear you. I promise we hear you. We're working on fixing these problems. I don't want to make excuses for them, and we will address those. And other things like clean hands, we really don't have the authority to change that, but we can certainly bring your concerns to the powers that be to see if there's anything can be done there. We've fought that battle for a while, and clean hands continues to be the challenge. The canvas ceiling, some of the work we're doing in trying to bring an international arts festival fair to Washington, D.C. is to deal with that issue. But also last year in Art Basel, Miami, we hosted a dinner for a number of DC artists who were there at Art Basel. And so maybe part of the process is finding a way to have our artists to go to other places and then bring that back to DC as well. The paid apprenticeships and the sister cities issues we need to address as well. So I hear you. I've taken notes. We will address it. But we thank you for bringing those challenges to us, because we're here to serve and we're determined to address those issues.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Hi, this is Miss Barry. Thank you for your presentation. And I would encourage you, I keep kicking myself off the Zoom, so I don't know if the chairman covered this area, but I would encourage you not only to share the accomplishments, but also your needs with members of the city council so they can hear also. So when we have those voices behind us, we have budget hearings, we have oversight hearings, and just an email or a letter to them saying those things would make a big difference. It helps us help you.
I certainly will, because you have some awesome people there, and we deeply appreciate the grant people have been fantastic. Yes.
But we always strive to be yet better. So thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Moving on to our public comment portion. We have a few individuals signed up for the public comment this evening. The commission welcomes your comments. They're very important to us. Please note that comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please address your remarks to the chair. Note that we will not be engaging in dialogue at this time. The purpose of this agenda item is for you, the public, to inform us, the commission, about your views. If members of the public have factual questions, staff would be glad to follow up via email. So when I call your name, you may begin your comments. And I think we're starting with Philip White from Ward 7. Is Mr. White with us?
There is a number here. I'm going to allow them to talk to see if this is Mr. White. So we don't know a name. Is this Mr. White's number? Nope. I don't believe Mr. White is with us.
Okay, we can come back. Carol Foster speaking for Black Dance Artists, Ward 4.
I'm promoting her to panelist right now so she can speak.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Foster, please unmute. She should be here.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome.
Hi. Well, good evening, everyone. I am happy to be here and happy to have an opportunity to speak. My name is Carol Foster. I've been doing the arts with young people and working with the arts community and dance and theater and visual arts for 54 years. Been around a while. And I'm still standing. And I have my Acme moving and hauling outfit on because I was moving Baba Melvin Deal's his whole estate property and everything from one storage unit to the next. And I'll expand on that as I get into my comments, and I want to move quickly. One of my latest hats was as an emergency preparedness consultant for the performing arts under the International Association of Blacks in Dance. I'm a rare bird, but I also hope that people understand that this is a very, very important segment for artists of color and for artists in general, for the entire community. I work with an organization called PAR, Performing Arts Readiness, and they have a grant program that will help artists develop their emergency plans. And it is a program that they can apply for, I believe, twice a year. And what I hope that the commission would consider putting on its agenda would be a match to that grant to help our artists here to develop their emergency plans. It tends to be something that is not a priority until it becomes a priority. And I just want to remind, I'm sure most of you know, but emergencies under this emergency preparedness piece is beyond man-made and natural emergencies. It is anything that will shut down whatever you're doing, your organization, your company, your gallery, whatever it is, it will shut anything that shuts it down. That means if your grant is late, like we were talking about, the money is late, that's considered part of emergency preparedness. And so getting people to pay attention to it. Most of our organizations, maybe one or two people generate it and they don't have time. What I have done is developed a 150-page template, which is basically geared around dance organizations, individuals, companies, but it can be acclimated to other arts organizations as well. But it's something I think will be extremely helpful for artists. So I'm hoping that the commission will get behind this effort and help us to move our artists to thinking about planning. And they can do it in small bites. They don't have to do the whole 150 pages. It's impossible, but doing it in small bites is really important. Part of it is preservation and archiving. I am in the midst of dealing with Melvin Deal's storage unit. I just spent $2,500 of my own personal money to move from one storage unit that was going up to $935 a month, which I didn't want to pay for because I was already paying $800 a month for his storage. He has invaluable sculptures, papers, costumes, everything. I'm hoping to put it at Howard University and also have talked to Anacostia Museum. But there needs to be somewhere where I can even go and lay everything out and then categorize it. So it is a challenge just trying to get somewhere where we could even start to, we've started to sort through a good deal of it, but you know, it's still a challenge. And for those of you who dance, trust me, we have enough fabric to put a lapa on every child from Maine to Miami. So there's everything there. My second piece is probably connected to.
I need to remind you of the 3-minute limit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Not yet.
Not yet, but
Okay. My second.
you said second. I'm not sure how many more you had. That's what I wanted to.
I have a lot. Because one's already been mentioned. So my second piece is just about space for dance artists, especially Black dance artists. We've talked about this before. Many of you probably weren't around during the time of the Landsberg's building, and that was our last vestige of an art center in DC. And we all were in there. And the reason it worked was because it had anchor organizations in it, like the DC Commission on the Arts, Cultural Alliance and others. So it was really, really important to have something like that, a vestige of that. And it needs an anchor because our revenues are like a roller coaster. We'll be there and then we won't. We'll be there and we won't. So we need something with sliding scale fees and something that really does work. My last point is about what was already talked about, the delay, and whatever we can do as an arts community on the Black dance side, we will do to support the commission. But the delay it's critical to all of us to get our monies in a timely fashion because we can't keep our doors open. We can't. And it is so, I'm sure the young woman who spoke before me said it all, but it is really, really critical to survival for us. So whatever we need to do to support you all, please let us know and keep us in mind of it. And
Thank you.
I thank you.
Thank you. On all three of those, we hear you. We really do hear you. And you'll see results coming soon. Thank you. Thank you very much. We have written comments from Michelle Colburn, an artist in Ward 3, and those we'll distribute to the commissioners later. Quest Skinner, FY24 AHFP grantee from Ward 5. Are you here?
Quest is not here.
Good. Now, I will butcher this name. So instead, I'm going to say a friend from the Brooklyn Arts Walk, Ward 5. Pega, I think is the first name, and I know I will butcher the last. So perhaps you can come and help me with the pronunciation and then give your comments.
Also not here.
Oh, has Philip White arrived from Ward 7?
Has not. I think we can move on.
Okay, good. Well, thank you. Let's go to the director's report. Executive director's report, sorry.
Hello, everyone. This is Aaron Myers, and I am an African-American male with a graying beard and a cream-colored top. We have just a few updates for everyone, and I would say to Ms. Foster, if you could just email me a bit more about the artist emergency, your plan, and that I'm very, very intrigued with that, if possible. We're going to start with the first, and this is staff updates. CAH has hired Brian Allende's replacement. And just so people can understand, Brian was our resource allocation officer. Brandon Saunders started his position as CAH resource allocation officer this week and comes to us with a wealth of experience working with the DC Office of Contracting and Procurement, as well as DPR. I want to welcome Brandon to the team, and he has gotten a whirlwind of excitement starting this particular week with the commissioners meeting tonight and the oversight hearing happening tomorrow. So we will soon bring on a new grants manager who is scheduled to begin in April. So to those who've been praying, thank you for that. Finally, our public arts manager, Lauren Dugas-Glover, has transitioned out of the agency. We want to thank her for all of her support and her work toward the commission. And the CAH is currently revamping the position description. Once that is complete, with the approval of DCHR, the agency will begin the search for a replacement. We're going to second our performance oversight hearing. The commission will appear before the Council of the District of Columbia for our annual performance oversight hearing on Thursday, February 29th, 2024. Anyone wishing to testify should sign up at the council's committee of the whole website. And that may, at this point, I'm not sure if it's still open. However, you're always welcome to have a written comment that you can, written testimony that you can send to the committee of the whole. 3, the music census, and this is something I'm very excited about. The commission has teamed up with Sound Music Cities to launch a DC area music census. The launch announcement for the census is scheduled for March 6th, with the first public community meeting happening March 12th. So again, the launch announcement is scheduled for the 6th of March, and the first public community meeting happening March 12th. This census is a part of a larger cohort of 16 cities across the country, including Baltimore. Our goal is to use the data derived from this census to create a method that assists the agency to help the city shore up the infrastructure needed to support this industry. Now, this census is the first of many. The commission will participate across multiple disciplines. Once completed, the commission will next begin the process of creating a census for other artists, including theater and dance. So Commissioner Brienza, you will probably be tasked and touched for that. Number 4, our space update. We are working now with our partners at the Department of General Services, DGS, to expand our offices into the space formerly occupied by the Office of Cable Television, Film, Music, and Entertainment at the front of our building. We plan to move our grants team to the new office space, creating a greater opportunity for community access. This move also provides an additional expansion as we add more staff to the agency. And for those who've been to our offices before, that means when you first enter into the agency, instead of waiting on the security to go all the way in the back, the security will come, you can be signed in and go directly to your left and no longer having to navigate your way through the building. Number 5, the space survey. The commission hastened the call and the community answered. We have been informed about their desire for more available creative space in the district. Therefore, the commission is launching a space survey. This survey is designed to provide data that helps the district create an environment where artists and organizations are able to sustain and grow. The organizations benefiting from the survey results provide a service to the community that no other agency or collection of agencies could currently provide. These organizations serve as a lure for tourists, both regional and nationally, and act to sustain DC as a cultural hub. These further align with the city's desire to revitalize both downtown and every neighborhood corridor. We've coordinated with the Council of Bids, Main Streets, DMPED, and DSLBD to ensure that once completed, we have a task force ready and able to utilize the data to activate spaces across the city. We had hoped to launch this just a few weeks ago, but we've created now the form and we populated everything. And once we see who houses the repository of data, then we'll be able to move forward, just as an aside. Number 6, public arts will be closing out its popular Legacy Civil Rights at 60 exhibition this Friday evening with a short reception and panel. Deirdre from the public arts team will have more on that, plus announce the next exciting exhibit they have coming to the CAH Gallery in her report. And I encourage everyone listening to come to 200 I Street Southeast. If you have not seen this exhibition, you've been missing out. So there's no need to miss out. Come by and see us. Grant DIFS training, and I hope everyone pays close attention to this. The grants department is holding a training for both current and prospective grantees who are struggling with navigating DIFS every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. through March 26, 2024. A great deal of our grant managers' times is spent trying to help navigate the DIFS process. And just as a point of clarification, when you call the DIFS help desk, there's, I believe, only 4 people there able to assist. So 4 people are assisting, I think, the entire city when it comes to questions. And so this particular training could be very helpful to many people. Last, teleworking. The agency is currently reviewing its telework policy. And as an independent agency, we are not required to make any immediate changes to our current telework policy. However, we are working internally to understand what policies we may implement that would strengthen both the output of the agency and team cohesiveness. The commission, along with other district agencies, has undertaken the task of being an active participant in revitalizing the revitalization of DC. As our new policy becomes effective, we will keep our grantees and partners informed. Please note, there are people working in the agency daily. Anyone interested in scheduling an in-person meeting with agency staff should contact the office to arrange a time. And I am grateful to the people who have dropped in on us and kind of gone around, and we've been able to meet in person, especially after many of our grantee meetups. I'm glad that you know that we are here and we're present to help for you. And that is the conclusion of my report. And if there's any questions, I'll stand here at the ready to answer.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions from anyone? Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
I just want to say I'm really excited about the new office space, and I'm very excited that the grants team gets to be in there. So, high five all around.
I believe Terrell has already picked out his furniture, so he's ready to rock and roll.
Good. Well, thank you. Why don't we move on to the Finance Committee report, which I hear is going to be a short one. Kymber?
It is. Good evening. Coming to you guys from the West Coast, but wanted to just share a quick update. The Finance Committee did have a chance to meet earlier this month, and we are very excited to welcome Brandon, our new Resource Allocation Officer, who we haven't had a chance to connect with, but I know we are all looking forward to connecting and kind of getting him fully engaged. And so just, you see this, if those, we looked at your documents earlier, I think the Finance Committee report was just added in about an hour ago. And so if you go to the first slide, kind of gives us a high level overview of where we are against the budget. You'll see we're kind of right at that 50% mark in terms of spent and available, which is, I think, right on track with where we should be. And the second slide will give us all the detail. So you can kind of see exactly where we are in terms of the total budget, the sums of our commitments, obligations, current expenditures, our total budget. And then this just kind of gives you the additional detail and breakdown from the previous slide. So looking forward to welcoming Brandon.
Great. Great. And as you said, as we said in the last meeting, nothing has really changed at this point. So we're in good stead for this moment. Thank you, Kymber. Any questions from the commissioners on the finance report? Gretchen, Grants Committee?
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Of course, the Grants Committee report is going to be a little bit longer, so take your sip of water or Coca-Cola or whatever you're drinking so that we can keep you alert for a little while. A Black female with black glasses and my favorite color, purple, on this evening. We're going to be requiring a vote from the commissioners on this one, so everyone, please listen up. Just a little background. This involves GOS, General Operating Support. It's one of our most popular grants because it doesn't require the organizations and the organizations who receive it to specify what they're using it for, because there's so many things that organizations need that you can't really know or specify in the initial application. Last time we had our full commission meeting last month, we did a vote. We had a vote rather, and the vote was unanimous. So I just want to bring you up to date before we get to the new part. The General Operating Support Grant will now include a third cohort. This was approved last meeting. GOS capacity building. This cohort will support small arts and humanities organizations that have not previously been awarded a grant by CAH. Capacity building needs can include, but are not limited to, staff training, longer organizational initiatives, sector strengthening that increase access and awareness of the programs for the DC community. The cohort will not require a previous CAH award, providing a true GOS on-ramp for new and applicants not previously funded. Again, we voted on that last meeting, so that's in effect as we speak. Beyond funding, the program will offer additional features to foster connections and knowledge exchange. Peer mentoring, connect with experienced artists and humanities leaders for additional guidance and support. Quarterly convenings, network and share learning with other cohort members, building a collaborative community. We found this to be just totally invaluable. GOS multiple year funding proposal. This is what we are now proposing for a vote for this meeting. To provide GOS organizations with greater stability and longer term planning, a multi-year funding resource is being offered for fiscal years 2025 and 2026. The GOS program has long existed to provide stability to the creative sector. 2-year funding better enables that mission. This means organizations meeting the criteria won't need to reapply for the second year, but will receive funding based on the commission's budget and other government funding received by the organization that year. So if you've already been approved for 2-year funding, you don't have to go through the application again. But remember, it depends on our budget. A lot of it depends, most of it depends on our budget. To be eligible for that option, organizations must have demonstrated a 2-year track record of compliance with GOS grants in 2 of the last 5 years and complete reports throughout that cycle. Additionally, all organizations will still undergo a review process, and eligible organizations have the option of opting in or out of multi-year funding. So it'll be up to the organization who gets the grant. This initiative aims to streamline the application process for eligible organizations. For GOS grantees participating in 2-year funding, their second-year awards will adjust according to the new agency budget and other CAH restrictions. We have to put that in there as a caveat because we don't know from fiscal year to fiscal year exactly what's going to be approved by the mayor and the council. Okay. The purpose of the committee's decision for multi-year funding in FY25, just a little history lesson for those of you who haven't been around for a while. We have had so many people asking for multi-year funding for all the obvious reasons. It helps you plan not only programs, but staffing, just everything. But we haven't been able to do it because we were not an independent organization. Prior to the Commission on the Arts and Humanities becoming independent in 2019, the DC Code didn't explicitly allow the Commission to award multi-year grants for arts and humanities projects. This is evident in the previous version of the DC Code, which simply stated that the Commission could make grants without specifying the duration. However, the current version of the code explicitly authorizes the Commission to issue both single or multi-year grants, reflecting the change that occurred with CAH's independence. That's critical. You've been asking for this for so long, we're finally able to do it. The agency's transition to independence and to a budget sourced almost exclusively from dedicated tax revenue occurred just before the onset of the pandemic. It is only now that we're coming out from under the fallout of the pandemic that we can fully realize our independent status, what it means for the agency. We hope this proposed change to the GOS grant program signals positive forward momentum for the agency and speaks to the trust we have in the abilities of our grantees to utilize the GOS funding well. Before I get to the last little bit of it, Reggie, I would like to move that the GOS recommendation for 2-year funding be approved.
But before we do that, if you'd allow me, Chairman's privilege, I'd like to make 4 points about what was just said. One, for some of our grantees, this is life-changing. People have been asking forever to not have every year to go through the administrative effort of applying for grants and that sort of stuff and having some comfort, just maybe they will get some money the next year. So finding a way to do this with the changes in our independence, et cetera, finding a way to do this is this agency not just always doing things the way we did it, but to think about what are the needs of our grantees and how do we meet them. First point. Second point, it's important to note that, and I want to make sure I'm going on my notes and not saying something wrong. People need to know that you really do have the option to opt in or opt out, because there's a possibility that what you've done in this year versus what you may do in a subsequent year may grant you more money or garner you more money because you're doing something different. And we don't want you to feel as though you're bound to that. But if indeed you want this 2-year opportunity, you can get it. The third thing is, this is not a guarantee. As you said, our budget is conditioned upon so many things, but it does save you the effort of having to apply every year, if indeed you opt for a 2-year thing. And then lastly, I want to applaud the grants committee and our grant staff, our managers, for really doing the work to figure out how can we come up with this program in a safe way, in a way that we could really talk about it and stand up to it. So thank you for that. I just wanted to make those 4 points. But yes, now we will go to the vote. When I call, and maybe you wanted to repeat again what we're voting on, Gretchen.
You're voting on the GOS recommendation to move GOS to a 2-year funding cycle.
Good. With the option to take that or not take that. As I call your name, let me know whether you're in favor or not, or abstain. Cora? Julianne?
Yes, Corey, yes on that.
So Cora, yes. Julianne?
Yes.
Jack? Jack? Cecily?
Yes.
Chase?
I was on mute. I'm sorry. Yes.
Thank you, Jack. Chase?
Absolutely, yes.
Kymber? Kymber, are you with us? Carla?
Yes.
Hector? Gretchen?
Absolutely.
It passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. And you're going to hear this 10 times from me. You always do. But thanks so much for the grants managers. They are unbelievably dedicated. They work through holidays. They work through weekends. They work long hours just to do all of these kinds of things, just to make sure our grants programs are where they need to be. So that you know, and this is on the website, the new grant opening dates, which start March 1st for general operating support, East Arts, and performance events and festivals for individuals and performance events and festivals for organizations are March 1st through April 11th. So please make sure you go onto the website, pull down your information, your applications, and get those applications into us. The grants department, by the way, has made significant progress in processing the 24 grants. We've had over 950 agreements executed, and we're continuing to commit to completing them, obviously, and keep the momentum up and assisting grantees to navigate through the DIF system, as we said before. Please, grantees, if you have any outstanding documents requested by your grants manager, it's absolutely important that you get them in immediately. We appreciate your continued patience and support. The other thing, and I keep saying this every time we're on public TV, we were cut by 4 grants managers. That's one of the reasons we have not been able to get some of these grants out on time. We were literally cut, not by a percentage, but specifically cut by 4 grants managers. What I'd like each and every one of you to do, the hearings are tomorrow, so it's probably too late to send in something, except send in a text message or an email note to your council member. Tell them, please do not cut our budget. You can send an email note tonight, text message tonight, but please do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gretchen. Any questions or comments from the commissioners for the grants committee? And again, I echo again the thanks to the grants team for this amazing work you do, and under the duress of a lot of work to do and not enough staff, not the amount of staff that we would have liked and requested. So thank you.
Can I just add, I'd like to add one thing. I
Yes,
found there's I don't know, the grants managers know this by now, I'm sure, but there's a new accounting system that the CFO has put into place in the city for grants and contracts, and it's a nightmare. And that has resulted in weeks and weeks of backlog in terms
Yeah,
of.
we talked about the DIF system.
It's the DIF system. Yes.
We
Oh,
talked
okay.
about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
want to make sure.
Great.
But it's causing a lot of problems for people.
Yes, and everywhere, not just for us. But
Yeah.
in a bunch of places. So.
Yeah.
Carla, Public Arts.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Carla Sims. I'm a Black female wearing glasses, and want to give an update on the Public Arts Committee, and we will have a vote at the end of this as well on the Color the Curb program. The Color of the Curb program as a school safety program in collaboration is a collaborative design and placement project created through partnership with the District of Columbia Commission on the Arts and Humanities and DDOT and DCPS. The program aims to increase pedestrian safety by painting ground murals on curb extensions outside or near schools in Washington, D.C. We had 4 finalists for the Color of the Curb program, and we decided that on the FY24 funding, we recommended that these 4 finalists receive $30,000 apiece for a total of $125,000. So if we would want to vote on that, we made the recommendation that we would grant them $120,000 total. So we want to adopt a resolution that the commission adopt the funding recommendation for the FY 2024 Color the Curb School Safety Program as presented for the total funding of $120,000.
Thank you. I'll go down the roll call. All in favor, say aye, and if opposed, nay or abstain. Cora? Julianne?
Aye. I just keep muting myself. Aye.
Thank you. Julianne?
Aye.
Jack?
Aye.
Cecily?
Aye.
Chase?
Aye.
Kymber? Carla?
Aye.
Gretchen?
Aye.
Hector? It passes. Thank you.
Great.
Anything else, Carla?
We also, on the 15th of February, we decided on recommendations for the FY 25 Public Arts Grants. And these recommendations, we voted to bring the following recommendations to the full committee, to the full commission. First is public art building communities, inclusion of an impact statement to give applicants with repeated projects or themes a chance to explain how their current application concepts build or innovate on the past year's concept. We also voted to have the program managers explore language to address the need or the use of AI in public art projects. As far as the arts exhibition grant, we indicated that curators from DC-based nonprofit organizations are now eligible to apply, and we would allow for DC curators to propose bringing existing or previously exhibited shows to our gallery. For the Art Bank program, we created a recommendation that specifies that a percentage of our acquisitions from each year be from artists that are new to the Art Bank collection. The percentage has not been determined, but the current operative percentage is 25. And then finally, the Color of the Curb program, keep grantees from the previous fiscal year as ineligible to apply for the next fiscal year, and to expand school engagement to middle and high schools. So those were the recommendations that we made, that we wanted to bring for the full commission.
And you need to bring this to a vote?
Yes, please.
Does anybody need to hear the list? Again, I know the list was so long, but does anybody need to hear the list before we take the vote? If not, we'll take the vote. Aye if favored, no if not, and abstain if necessary. Cora?
Aye.
Julianne?
Aye.
Jack?
Aye.
Cecily?
Aye.
Chase?
Aye.
Kymber? Carla?
Aye.
Hector? Gretchen?
Aye.
It passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else from Public Arts?
That is it.
Any questions, comments from the commissioners? If not, we'll move on to arts education. Our committee chair, Hector, is not here, but I think there's an announcement on our Words on Fire program, and I'll ask Aaron to make that announcement.
Yes, our Words on Fire, and something that we are really excited about will be happening at UDC at noon. And it happens around, I think, noon, or the doors open, may be open at 12:45. Be there from noon to 5, and it's an important, very important opportunity. This 15+ year district teens representing non-public, private, and charter schools will gather to compete for a chance to advance to Poetry Out Loud's national finals, which happen on May 2nd. This is sponsored in part by the NEA and the National Poetry Foundation. This program encourages students to explore both pre-20th century poetry recitation and performance. The festival also includes a written and a slam poetry component featuring original works produced by teens via the guidance of classroom teachers and local teaching artists. So Words on Fire Poetry Festival will be held on Saturday, March 16th, UDC Auditorium for the arts, and the doors will open at noon. The event is free and open to the public. More information can be found at CAH's website. I'd like to say that what we have seen is that sometimes this is the introduction that a lot of young people have to the work that not only this agency does, but many other art agencies do across the country and the NEA. Can we put that back on the screen so I can finish reading there? Thank you. Our arts education program, the Arts Education and Public Arts Departments are working in partnerships with the DC Child and Family Services Agency to promote the Thriving Families exhibition. The program invites district youth grades K through 12 and young adults to submit artwork and poetry around the theme, "What does thriving look like to you?" Participants will have the opportunity to have their artwork and poetry on display for 6 weeks in the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities Gallery from March 22nd until May 3rd. And one last thing I would like to note, you can keep going, Edward, I think that's it. One thing that I'd like to note that has happened, parts of arts education and our public outreach team with Melvin has participated with Wharton's kids in their Celebrate Black History through storytelling. And this has been happening weekly. So we've had some books that were given to them, and stories have been read to the young people, which has been an awesome opportunity to be a part of. And I think you may even hear later, you may have heard some in the previous report about, I think we had some second graders here in the office today in our gallery, actually learning more about art. They had a scavenger hunt. And I think Michelle and Jenna had opportunity to give them opportunity to be artists themselves today. So that's it from arts education.
That's it, but that's a lot. That's great. Great. That's great. Any questions or comments from the commissioners on arts education? If not, Cecily will go to the I.D.E.A committee, inclusion, diversity, equity, and access. A couple of times people have asked me to say what I.D.E.A means. So inclusion, diversity, equity, and access.
Great.
Cecily?
Thank you so much. My name is Cecily Habimama, and I am wearing glasses, some earrings, and a brown sweater. And so this is our second month as the formed DEIA committee. We met on Friday, February 9th, and we discussed our regular meeting times, understanding the diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, reviewing the task force recommendations, and defining the committee's purpose, objectives, and accountability measures. As a result of the committee's meeting, the members will continue to work towards a path to executing the 44 recommendations as described and needed, as well as exploring other best practices to integrate into operations. Since the I.D.E.A committee, the I.D.E.A office has been pivotal in ensuring that our operations are guided by these core principles. Through initiatives and interventions, we have made significant strides towards achieving a more equitable distribution of resources. So just as an update, we've worked on between 16 out of 44 recommendations outlined to enhance equity and inclusion within our practices are either complete or in progress. And that's great because it represents 30% of the total recommendations, signifying a substantial commitment to advancing these objectives. And just to add to that, again, this committee has formed 2 months ago, so some of these were completed even before we started working on them. And we do recognize that we have a lot more work that we need to do. Two of them that we want to talk about in particular is, of course, the creation of the I.D.E.A Standing Committee. Again, we've held 2 monthly meetings to date. We will continue to meet on a monthly basis to create a more equitable and resource-rich organization positioned to support the DC-based artistic landscape. And I just want to say for those that the artists that did join today, just by coming on and listening to these comments, it allows us to be able to just get a firsthand on how we can actually make these make more of a difference for the artists in DC. So thank you all so much for sharing your thoughts, and hopefully it'll encourage other people to come and share as well. A call to action. I'd like to remind our virtual audience that there is an opportunity to serve as a panelist during our grant review. Since September 2022, panelists have been approved to receive a $250 gift card for grant reviews. We provide a $250 gift card as an extension of our appreciation of your time and is in alignment with the I.D.E.A guidelines. We do this because we want to make sure, and coming from the I.D.E.A committee, that the panelist mirrors the community that we serve across all 8 wards and the artists and galleries and artisans that we support. So if you're interested in serving on a panel, we're going to put that link in the chat. I'm not going to read that out to you all, but it's on the DC Arts website that you can apply to become a panel member. We have 60 panels, and 6 to 7 of them are needed per panel. 2 to 3 weeks are given to each panelist to review 25 applications. So please consider becoming a panelist. That'll help us to further our work in equity and inclusion, just by having you all represent your wards, your type of art, your background as well. And so I'm going to turn it over to Claire. She's going to add a few more comments, and thank you all so much.
Thank you,
Commissioner.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries. Please continue.
No, I was just thanking her and passing it to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Bentley. And thank you very much, Commissioner Habimama. My name is Claire Landry. I am the Chief Inclusion, Equity, and Diversity and Accessibility Officer for the Commission. My pronouns are she, her, hers. For anyone that is visually challenged, I am wearing a cream-colored cape and a blouse with a cream colored blouse with a bow, and my hair is braided and in a ponytail, and I identify as an African American woman. This past weekend, we were excited to join Executive Director Myers, who provided this year's Statement of Occasion at the annual Association of the Studies of African American Life and History luncheon on Saturday, February 24th. This is important because this is the organization that lobbied, advocated for there to be an actual Black History Month, which grew, of course, from the initial Negro History Week of 1926. So being able to join them for this particular occasion when the theme was indicated and set as African Americans and the arts was completely apropos to have our director join and provide the statement of occasion for the event. Director Myers spoke very fervently about the opportunity to express gratitude to a community that has ensured that we continue to address injustices that are around us. He emphasized the importance of uplifting and providing the tools and resources for generations to come. And it was such an appropriate time for him to do so, again, because of the theme of this year, which changes annually. 2 years ago was focused on wellness and mental health and so on and so forth. So understanding that this changes, it's really a great time to be able to align the mission of the commission with the theme of this year's Black History Month observance. So as the director, Director Myers was positioned to share insights of the work that the commission supports and speak to the many contributions of African Americans to the arts, while also expressing his thanks. He used this opportunity to thank those who support, amplify, and protect arts within the African American community, while protecting our narratives and other mediums for cultural expression. And while we are on the subject of Black History Month and our ability to not only share our commission's mission with members of Congress, in fact, Leader Jeffries was one of the fireside chat and keynote speakers, joined by his brother, Dr. Hassan Jeffries, who is a historian, also making sure that we are expressing what we are doing here at the commission and why it's so important in getting that visibility, that and branding recognition that we strive to get, and to just share what we're doing, as well as sharing what artists within our who we support as a part of the commission, what kind of support they're receiving from us. Lastly, for Black History Month, since we are at the tail end of, at least from the purposes of the Gregorian calendar, where we might be relegated to 28 or 29 days, please note that the celebration of Black American, African American, and any member of the African diaspora, this is an opportunity to acknowledge the immense economical potential within the $700 billion art industry, which is growing. For African Americans, this represents more than just financial opportunity. It's a chance to reclaim, to be credited for, and to own our narrative and ensure equitable representation within mainstream galleries, outlets that should be free from discriminatory barriers. Art serves as a powerful medium for commemorating social justice and civil rights struggles, reflecting the trauma, perseverance, and resilience of African Americans throughout history. Yet amidst the struggle, art also encapsulates the joy, community, and humanity that binds us all together. So it's crucial for us to uplift and celebrate not only the renowned Black artists across various mediums, but also highlight the traditional yet expansive opportunities for other art disciplines that this commission has voiced that we are interested in exploring even more. And that includes historical safe havens and modes of survival for African Americans, such as culinary arts, fashion, and performance arts, which enrich our cultural tapestry. And as the nation's creative capital, we have a responsibility to ensure that diverse voices are not only heard, but amplified throughout the artistic landscape. And here at the Commission, we advocate for and support DC-based artists while continuing to work towards a future that is truly inclusive, reflective of our collective experience, and a catalyst for positive change. Yes, for 365 days of the year, or in this case, for this leap year, 366 days of the year. So thank you all. Any comments or questions? I'll stand ready.
Thank you. Comments, questions from other commissioners? Certainly my applause to the efforts, the newness and the freshness of the energy in our idea space from both our chair and from you, Clara, so, and your team. So thank you. Thank you very much. I'll go to the executive committee, and my report is actually short. At our last executive committee meeting, it focused on governance, and clearly kudos to our new chair of governance, Julianne Brienza, who has brought an energy and freshness to really doing a comprehensive look and assessment at our governance. At our executive committee meeting, she shared with us the areas that are under investigation, the areas where we're thinking about making change, wanting to give us time to digest those suggestions. We did not take a vote at that time. In a subsequent executive committee meeting, and then following in a full commission meeting, we will address those things. But we feel as though we really have looked at our governance structure and our bylaws in a way that moves us even further into the 21st century and into the sort of challenges and issues and opportunities this commission wants to address. So Julianne, since you really had the microphone at that meeting, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to say about governance or if that's been covered sufficiently.
One thing, just to state that what I presented at the executive committee was an outline of revisions to the bylaws. And do note that I have watched the past recordings of when the bylaws were updated the last time, and I can assure you this is not that process. The revisions that I presented are very rudimentary and really about the form and function and how we communicate with one another. I will be presenting these to the full commission for a review, just to look at. There's no voting that's happening until August, our August meeting. I will be sending those to all commission members on Monday coming up. And I did get a staff member assigned to our committee, which is David St. John. And so he will be working with myself and the only other member of the governance committee, Chase, as we work through this. If anyone else is like, my God, this is so exciting, I want to be a part of the governance committee, please reach out. Our next meeting is March 11th at 10 a.m., the committee meeting. And if you want to come, please come. And as I said, we will work through these revisions Discussion, dialogue, and collaboration are the only way that we will get these things together and vote on them in August. So thank you to the executive committee for allowing me to test some of the ideas during that meeting. I really appreciated the dialogue.
Great, great. And I'll say that there was significant, I'll say, kinetic energy around the last revision of the bylaws. Some of that was because the bylaws had not been updated in, I think, 8 years. But some of it was the process. And so I appreciate your process that gives people soak time to think about, discuss, work through, and not feel rushed in making a decision. So giving us that information next week, giving us until the August meeting to really come to a vote, I think is the right process, because we want the bylaws to be right, not fast. So thank you for that. Any other questions or comments, others who were in the executive committee meeting, anything that I may have missed that you think we should highlight here? If not, thank you. We'll go to the special committee reports, starting with the foundation report. Chase, are you prepared to speak to that?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Van Lee. Can everyone hear me okay?
It's a little bit of a echo of sorts, but we're hearing you.
All right, I'll try my best.
Great.
It's a very brief report, but before I get started, I just want to give another applause and huge congratulations to the grants team and the grants committee for achieving multi-year grants. That's like one of the most responsive things I've seen our agency do in a long time. So that's just amazing. I just had to say that. As far as the foundation committee goes, the report is fairly brief. As I mentioned before, we did have our first foundation committee meeting about a week and a half ago. In that meeting, we re-looked at our purpose and our goals. We determined a few things, a few guardrails for ourselves. And we also determined that our next steps are to reach out to similar foundations in the same idea around the country to learn from them. So we're going to be spending the next month doing that with a series of questions that we've adopted for ourselves to keep us all on track on the same conversation. And then the only other thing I would add before closing my report is that we are still seeking one committee member, the foundation committee. So we would welcome input from the DC cultural community in the form of one additional member. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Questions, comments from commissioners on the foundation committee? Good. I will be equally as brief with the Art Week 2025 committee report. As I've said before, across 4 stakeholder meetings, 3 of which were focused on arts organizations, 1 was focused on artists. The trip that we took to Miami, where we held an event for DC artists and others there in Miami during Art Basel. Across all of that, now some 80 to 100 DC people have touched and commented on and provided context around what might an international art event in DC want to look like. So I think we have a very comprehensive set of questions. We don't have a whole lot of answers yet, but we think we've addressed or identified all the issues and questions to be addressed. We're looking now to bring a consultant on board and going through the process that one needs to do that so that we can find people with real expertise in this space, experience in putting these things together, everywhere from the consultant that worked with Art Basel Miami to one of our homegrown consultants here in Washington, D.C., to really think through and help us work through getting from questions to answers. I just want to repeat, because sometimes it gets lost in the communication. In my opinion, there are 2 mega goals that we have out of creating this international art event. The first is to be artist-centric, to nurture artists, to shine an international light on DC artists and the richness of this burgeoning art scene in Washington, DC. And that is something that an international art fair could do. The second is to bring economic boosts to Washington, DC. Not dissimilar to what Art Basel Miami has done to Miami, and by most people's estimates, anywhere from $400 to $500 million of commerce comes annually to the city of Miami out of their Art Basel. So we aspire to do the same thing in Washington, D.C. 2 purposes: address the needs of the artists address the economic needs of Washington, D.C. Our goal is still to launch this in the 2025 time period, and we will see as we work with the consultant if that is indeed feasible or just what, but that's the goal. So we are on the path to make this happen, and feeling good about both the opportunities ahead of us and our ability to address the challenges before us. Questions or comments from the commissioners on Art Week 2025? According to my notes, we don't have, I'm sorry. Yes.
I want to make sure that people understand that, especially those of our fellow agencies, that we're not looking to replace Art All Night. We're hoping whatever we do will bolster, just as the chairperson stated, it would nurture, bolster, shine a light, so that what happens on Art All Night even shines brighter, you know, and it really does help out, gives an opportunity for DC-based artists to be spotlighted and put on a platform where they can reach an even larger audience. So I know that I've gotten a few questions in the last few days, and I want to be really crystal clear. I think this agency is a big supporter of Art All Night. Last year, we gave in excess of $200,000 toward Art All Night to ensure that it was a success. We'll continue to be supporting Art All Night, as well as Art Week DC, which we believe is going to really help bolster everything that the city is looking to do in revitalizing not only downtown, but other corridors here in the city.
Thank you for punctuating that, because DC deserves both an Art All Night and an Art Week DC. The city deserves both of those. And it's not a binary situation. It's not a one or the other. It's a both. So thank you. Thank you for making that point. As I said, no unfinished business according to my notes. And the only new business would just to be repeat what has been said earlier, that we will appear at the Council of the District of Columbia for our annual performance oversight hearing on tomorrow. The time slot is 9 a.m. to 1:30, and I'm not sure exactly where we fit in there because there are other agencies going before as well, rather. The website, if you want to view it, and we encourage everyone to view the hearings, and I'm going to say this slowly, the website is www.dccouncil.gov/hearings. www.dccouncil.gov/hearings. There being no further business, the next meeting of the commission will be held Monday, March 18th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. The time is now 6:48 p.m. and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.